Let us discuss today's important headlines. You all know about Delhi air pollution. They are also imposing graded response action plan norms. Delhi government announces new pollution measures. In fact, new anti-pollution measures. No fuel to 15 years old vehicles. No fuel to 15 years old vehicles. To curb Delhi pollution levels, Delhi government announced that vehicles older than 15 years will not be provided fuel at petrol pumps from March 31st. Announcing several anti-pollution measures, Delhi government said that the newly formed government is taking stringent steps to curb vehicular emissions and pollution. Restrictions on older vehicles, mandatory anti smog measures, and the transition to electric public transport were among the most important decisions the government is going to take. The government is going to install gadgets at petrol pumps which will identify vehicles older than 15 years, and no fuel will be provided to them. Apart from fuel restrictions, all high rise buildings, hotels, and commercial complexes in Delhi will be required to install anti smog guns to curb air pollution levels. Nearly 90% of public CNG buses in Delhi will be phased out and replaced by electric buses by December 2025. Next important news. India to remain fastest growing major economy with 6.5% growth in financial year 2026, said by International Monetary Fund IMF. IMF, Multilateral Financing Agency, has said that India will retain its position as the fastest growing major economy by reaching a GDP growth of 6.5% in 2025-2026 with the back of robust private investment and macroeconomic stability. India's strong economic performance, according to IMF, provides an opportunity for India to advance critical and challenging structural reforms to realize the ambition of becoming an advanced economy by 2047. Real GDP is expected to grow at 6.5% in 2024-2025 and 2025-2026, supported by robust growth in private consumption on the back of sustained macroeconomic and financial stability. The IMF statement also underlined the need for deeper implementation of structural reforms to boost private investment and employment and push the growth. Next important news is coming up from Karnataka. Bird flu. Mass culling in 3 districts in Karnataka. To curb the spread of viral disease, bird flu, the Karnataka government is carrying out mass culling. As per the Karnataka officials, H5N1 was confirmed in the regional poultry breeding and training centers at Ballari district, Chikballapur district and other districts. So, Karnataka government is culling the birds in the nearby infected areas also. As per the data shared, 292 poultry birds were culled and many eggs were destroyed. As you all know, poultry markets around the infected sites should also be closed. The news with respect to bird flu in Andhra, Telangana is flaring up. In this perspective, if you observe, even in Karnataka, there is a news about bird flu. The next important news that is coming up is the Supreme Court's direction. Supreme Court said states must compensate to construction workers affected by GRAPE closures, Graded Response Action Plan closures. The Supreme Court directed Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan to pay compensation to construction workers whenever they are affected by closure of their activities due to GRAPE, Graded Response Action Plan measures in Delhi National Capital Region, even if there is no specific court order to provide such compensation. Anti-pollution measures under Graded Response Action Plan are implemented based on average air quality in Delhi National Capital Region. Even if there is no specific direction by the court to pay the compensation, the National Capital Region states shall pay the compensation if the workers are affected by closures of their activities and factories because of graded response action plan. UK, there's a news from United Kingdom. UK launches review to define Islamophobia. From the last 2-3 years, the word Islamophobia is trending. The government, the UK government has appointed former Conservative Attorney General Dominic Grieve to lead a review into creating a new definition of Islamophobia. Labour Party has promised a new definition, and critics warn that the current definition is too broad and could curb the freedom of speech. So at present, they are going to review the definition of Islamophobia. On behalf of the government, Mr. Grieve said, we need to balance addressing the lived experience of those who are victims of Islamophobia and also the rights of British Muslims to have their freedom of expression and thought. So the word Islamophobia should be defined in a proper sense. For that reason, UK government have constituted a committee to review that. Donald Trump administration in America approved $3 billion arms sale to Israel amid ongoing Gaza conflict. You all know that. There was a temporary peace deal between Israel and Hamas for 5 weeks. Today, the peace deal was ended. And in this time, at this time, there's a bad news that is coming up. Donald Trump administration approved $3 billion arms sale to Israel. The Trump administration have approved a nearly $3 billion arms sale to Israel, bypassing the usual Congress review process to provide Israel with more than 2,000-pound bombs used in ongoing conflict with Hamas in Gaza. American Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, America have determined and provided detailed justification that an emergency exists that requires the immediate sale to the government of Israel of defense articles and defense services in the national security interest of America, thereby waiving all Congress reviews. So, this is a thing. America is selling defense sales to Israel at this crucial juncture. It might affect the war and it might escalate the war. So, there are many important IR news that is coming up. In Turkey, we should call it as Turkey, there is a party called PKK. In Turkey, which is also called as Turkey, there is a party called PKK, Kurdistan Workers Party, which is also called as PKK. They are fighting for separate Kurdistan. The Kurdistan Workers Party in Turkey has declared that it will implement a ceasefire with Turkey, heeding a call from its jail leader, Abdullah Öcalan, to disarm. PKK party's leader, Mr. Abdullah Öcalan, was jailed. He gave a call to disarm. So, listening to his call, the Kurdish Workers Party have declared that it will implement ceasefire with Turkey. Outlawed Kurdish group, that is Kurdish Workers Party, have called on Ankara to release jailed leader Abdullah Öcalan, who has been held in near total isolation since 1999. The statement was given by Kurdish Workers Party, which was published in PKK Firat News Agency, is seen as a major step towards ending a 40-year conflict between Kurdish Workers Party and Turkey. Kurdish Workers Party, which is also called as PKK, has declared a ceasefire with Turkey, and in a statement they said they want to end this and they want to release their leader Abdullah Öcalan. The group has waged a war against Turkey in 1984 with the aim of carving out a new country called Kurdistan, which accounts for about 20% of Turkey's 85 million population. KPP is banned as a terrorist group in Turkey, European Union, UK and US. Kurdish Workers Party, which is also called as PKK, was banned as a terrorist group in Turkey, European Union, UK and US. Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott praised our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji for his efforts to promote millets as a sustainable superfood. Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has praised Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's efforts and India's leadership in reviving traditional grains and promoting their global consumption. Mr. Tony Abbott is currently visiting India. The former Australian Prime Minister explored India's initiatives in promoting Sri Anna. Sri Anna means millets as a sustainable and nutritious food. During his visit, Abbott was introduced to a diverse range of ready to cook and ready to eat products made from various types of millets, as well as millet staples like grains, flours, and sprouted flours. Millets are superfood for super country. They also have environmental and health benefits. And they also have environment and health benefits. This February, that is February 2025, is landmark for not for good reasons but for some negative reasons. This February was India's warmest February in the last 125 years. This February 2025 is India's warmest February in the last 125 years. The past month was the warmest February in India since record keeping commenced in the country in 1901, and the upcoming hot weather season is likely to be warmer than normal. So we are going to see heat waves in the month of May and April. Both months of 2025, that is January and February, so far have figured among the top 3 warmest on the record from 1901. Earlier, 2024, the year 2024 was declared as the warmest year in the records dating back to 1901. Back to back warm winter months and the forecast of above normal heat in March, April may have a negative impact on winter crops such as wheat, rapeseed during their maturing phase. Above normal heat waves are expected over Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, etc. So this year we are going to see heat waves and they are going to pose risk to the vulnerable population including elderly, children and those with pre-existing health conditions. So we should be very careful in this regard. And another news is coming up from Russia. Russia says Zelensky, obsessed with continuing war, calls American visit as a complete failure. Russia on March 1st termed Ukrainian President Zelensky's visit to America as a complete failure and accused Zelensky of being obsessed with continuing of war. The visit of Ukrainian President to Washington on February 28th is a complete political and diplomatic failure. And Russian foreign ministry authorities also said Russia's unchanging goals remain the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, as well as the recognition of existing realities on the ground. So, Russia said it's a very big failure on the part of Ukrainian president not to get anything out of American visit. So, coming to today's Hindu paper, as today is a Sunday, Hindu paper do not carry a editorial page on Sunday. Hindu paper do not have a editorial page on Sunday. 4 workers killed in Uttarakhand avalanche. 4 civilian workers are missing and probably they were killed in the avalanche in Uttarakhand. On the second day of rescue operation taking place amid heavy snowfall at 10,000 feet above sea level, 17 workers were brought out by Indian Army and Indo-Tibetan Border Police, but 4 of them were died. Over 20 kilometers of the road leading to the area in the, so very bad thing, avalanche, border roads organization workers and other civilians, they are all stuck in the avalanche. When there is a heavy snowfall, continuous snowfall will not be like regular, it will be 6 feet high, 7 feet high snowfall, so that people who are trapped inside that, they will die. They cannot come out. Very difficult to rescue them because of bad weather conditions. So that's the thing that has happened in Uttarakhand. European leaders voice support for Zelensky after Donald Trump spat at White House. European leaders expressed their solidarity with Ukrainian President Zelensky following February 28th's acrimonious interaction between Zelensky and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is an American vice president. The White House interaction led to Zelensky either choosing to leave or being asked to leave. The White House interaction led Mr. Zelensky either choosing to leave or being asked to leave the White House without signing a deal on critical minerals. You are never alone, dear President Zelensky. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who was in India on Friday, said in the Twitter, that is X, We will continue working with you for a just and lasting peace. Most European leaders did not directly refer to American President Trump in their messages. They have been reappraising the transatlantic relationship following the verbal attacks and tariff threats unleashed by Mr. Trump over the last few weeks, as well as the fact that America did not invite Ukraine or other European countries to talks it has with Russia on February 18th. You are not alone, Zelensky, said Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, addressing his message to Ukrainians and Mr. Zelensky. So, most of the European leaders are with Zelensky and they are saying, you are not alone, we are with you. We are for lasting peace. You are not alone, we are with you, we are for lasting peace. Every Sunday, there will be a FAQ page and science page. This FAQ page, frequently asked questions, and science page is very important. Every Sunday carries this FAQ and science page, which is really important. ICMR report links high level of selenium in wheat to hair loss. The Indian Council for Medical Research interim report submitted to the Health Ministry on January 28th found consumption of wheat with high levels of selenium led to 31 times higher selenium in the body, causing sudden hair loss. Scientists from ICMR and AIMS Delhi visited villages from January 14 through 17 and collected wheat, rice, water, soil, and various human samples. ICMR submitted an interim report to the Health Ministry on January 28th. Selenium levels in the blood were about 31 times higher. Hair had high selenium content. Selenium in wheat samples collected from ration shops was 8 times higher. Selenium levels in the affected people were 3 times more than the unaffected individuals. Wheat collected from ration shops and affected households had high level of selenium, established a link between high selenium in wheat and sudden hair loss. A 2016 report in an Indian journal found 15 individuals from 2 families with highly extreme selenium toxicity had high selenium levels. Selenium in wheat was 250 times higher. It's a big news. It's a big news. Wheat, I asked, where do you find selenium? You are talking about eggs. This might be direct prelims question. So we can find highest amount of selenium in wheat. Study identifies sources of PM 2.5 in North India. This is also very important news. A study published in the journal Nature Communications have investigated the sources and health impact of PM 2.5 in North India, particularly in the Indo-Gangetic plain. The study has examined PM 2.5 composition and oxidative potential, a key indicator of health risks, using samples from 5 states, urban and roadside locations in Delhi, rural and industrial peripheries, and PM 2.5, particulate matter 2.5, is one of the important air pollutant and it affects health, and most of the PM 2.5 is contributed from the traffic pollution, industrial pollution and other pollutions. So this is the news that is coming up. You can read the entire article. This is a very important question. It can directly come in mains or prelims.